a lot of people invest in the property, they like the property. But they need to know that the property is not for them. It's for their tenants. It's for their future buyer. So always look at your tenants and your future buyer prior to buy the property.
So what would you recommend a person who's starting in investments, newbies investing in investments on?
Okay.
How would you ask them to, what kind of properties would you recommend them to buy, and what would be a good range?
Okay, so for a starter, right? Depending on the profile of the person, right? So if you're a professional, maybe you can go anywhere from 500 to 700. But if you are starting off new, right, without a lot of capital and you are not having a lot of knowledge yet, I would suggest go for something lower than 300,000, right? Start off there. Why? The reason why is you want to get a taste of the investment. So it's not about the property. It's about your knowledge right, in how to invest in a property.
And how to manage the property.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Get the tenants to come in as well.
Because if you can manage a tenant at 300,000, right, because your tenants are in that kind of range, could be a tough tenant, right? Because they could be blue collar workers, right? Sometimes you get like company immigrants, right? If you can manage them, right, the top, you'll be much easier.
Okay.
Right.
But which is better to invest in? A $300,000 property or $3 million property?
300,000, okay. Okay, so I would say if you ask me to choose, right, between a 300,000 property and a 3 million worth property, right, I would say depend on what kind of property you're going for. So if I'm going for 300,000 property, I will go for residential property.
Okay.
But if I'm going for $3 million property, then I wouldn't have go for residential. I will go for shop lots, right? That can give me more, lots. Industrial lots, factory lots. I think there is much more potential, right? Because if I buy a $3 million property for residential, it's most likely going to be like a bungalow or some semi-Ds and all that.
T20.
Yes, right. And for them, for your target tenant, it's much more narrow because it's only 20% of the people, right? If they have the budget of it, they have many choices as well. So your chances of appreciating will be much lower. Your chances of renting out the unit will be much lower as well.
So that means if let's say why 3 million for commercial and industrial is okay?
So if you are so why if you're having $3 million worth of property, right, go for commercial and industrial, is that it is you are renting to a business, and business give you long-term return, long-term tenancy,
and they can afford
yes
$3 million commercial shop lot or industrial, right?
Yes,
businesses are bigger. This have to be T20
Yes, exactly.
So it's a wider network of people.
Yes, of course.
Okay, cool.
And it's much more consistent.
So again, back to the guy who wants to go out there and invest, I would say invest as fast as possible. I wouldn't recommend you to just go out there and whack 3 different investments at the same time. I will ask you to invest into yourself first, all right? Find the one that you really like to do, really focus into it and grow. And as you can see, like me and Melvin, we like properties a lot. So that's what made us our money. It doesn't necessarily have to be your way of making money. And if you really focus on something really well, start small. Even in property, we started small, get the small properties, get it really good, right? Get yourself to be a master of it. And eventually, I tell you, your next $100,000 will not take you 10 years. It'll definitely get you faster there. So I will challenge those of you who actually asked that question. The next 100,000, if you do an investment and you really invest your skills into doing it, I challenge you in 3 years or less, you should be able to get that money coming in already.
Yes, I agree. Right. So for me, a little bit of a piece of advice is that I see a lot of difference between me before 30 and after 30. Before 30, I do investment without education, without knowing what I'm going into. And I think easily I lost about 200 to 300,000, right? And prior after that, all right, at 30, I met Dato' Michael. I learned how to invest in property. That makes me a lot of difference. And because of learning into properties, getting enough education, I've now invested into 25 properties, and I'm now running a business of an Airbnb that generates me about 3.5 million in every year, right? So that's how education can impact a person's life, and it has actually impact my life, right? So thank you, Dato' Michael. So, and that's all for today's session. So
till the next time round, okay?
See ya.